Hello, everybody.
What's up?
Welcome back. What's up, y'all? Glad you decided to come back after all the emotional baggage that was last week
Well,
or
it wasn't
last
last week.
episode.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, we revealed that we are quite messy people, but
Yeah.
who isn't?
Oh, well.
Who isn't messy? Anyway, in case you're new or you forgot, my name is Kaylee.
My name's Logan.
And we don't know what we're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, that's totally okay too. You're not alone. We're all in this together. Solidarity. Empathy for a stranger, y'all. We got it. We got empathy for you.
Okay.
Sure. We also got a trauma
Yes.
sandwich for you today.
Yeah. Just fun.
It's fun. The bi-weekly recording schedule lends itself very well to content sandwiches.
Yes.
We have a lot to talk about before and after we get to the titular content of this week.
The juicy bits.
The juicy bits. Speaking of juice, the juice is now in fact loose in the universe.
Oh,
His
no.
soul has been released from the prison of his body.
Oh, yay.
The juice here we're talking about is OJ, and
Yes.
that juice is now in hell.
Yeah. He didn't do it. He
If the glove
definitely
didn't fit,
do it.
the glove didn't fit, so you must quit.
Even though the glove fit perfectly.
If the glove fits, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it fit like a glove.
It did in fact fit like a glove.
Yes. If anything, the glove shrank due to the blood that was on it.
That was on it. And then that made it not fit. What the frick?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Under normal circumstances, when we talk about death on the or public figures passing on, or anybody passing on, we're respectful about it.
Typically.
Respect for the dead, typically, but not
Yeah.
OJ. Like the day of, it rained in the Kankakee area, and there was a double rainbow. And I sent a picture of it in my family group chat. And my mom said, like word for word, like, "Oh, that's Nicole and the other guy smiling now that OJ is dead."
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh my god, slay, mom! I taught you well."
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think we should have said it. OJ Simpson passed away. Let me see what day he died because I don't remember it.
Was
It
it a few
was
weeks ago now?
April 10th.
Yeah, fairly recently, yeah.
Died of prostate cancer.
Yeah. Or did he? The prostate cancer didn't do it. But if it did do it, it's gonna write a book explaining exactly how it didn't do it.
Some of these headlines are crazy. New York Daily News. OJ Simpson did not die surrounded by loved ones, says lawyer. Okay. OJ Simpson was chilling with a beer on the couch before Easter, lawyer says. I gotta read this case brief, apparently. Oh my god.
I know that OJ had kind of been popping off on Twitter, which is kind of weird. It's like he made videos on Twitter. And it was, like all his videos open with like, "Hello Twitter world." And it's like, okay, why are you here?
Damn. His last one was on February 11th.
Yeah.
He is who let OJ Simpson go on Twitter? I want to see some of these quote tweets. No one slices and dices analysis like the juice. Kills it every time. Nobody knows bad luck quite like this guy. Do or die time. Can we get some love for the Raiders today? Let's beat Miami. Speaking the truth as always, juice. The new OJ's jersey. The back says allegedly. 17 needs to kill it today, juice. Good played. I mean, good point. Killing it as always. Slicing through your competition like machetes.
Man. it's definitely one thing with the internet is that
Uh-huh.
death is no longer sacred,
No.
especially if it's a person that
So true.
most people don't like.
Yeah, so true. Who died? Somebody died this summer that nobody liked, but it was awkward. Do you remember that?
Was it Queen Elizabeth?
No, she freaking sucks anyway. I don't know who I was thinking of, but it was well, now we're getting to the age where all those controversial figures are gonna start dying. And
Yeah,
it's like,
there's gonna be a
well,
lot of classical celebrities that
mhm.
are gonna start dying, and that's gonna be sad.
Honey Boo Boo's oldest sister died. That's
Huh?
crazy. I didn't know that.
They're still around?
Yeah. Oh, now I want to go down a Honey Boo Boo rabbit hole.
Oh, no.
Oh man.
Oh, no.
It may have been the queen.
Yeah,
That's probably what I was thinking of.
but I thought that was, like,
That was like 2 years
2022.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully OJ is experiencing some swift justice right now. Dealt out
I
from
think his punishment is an endless police chase,
a
and
whole circle of hell. Like
he's stuck in
Dante
a
Inferno style. It's
Bronco.
just a police chase in the fucking Bronco. Oh, I swore. I'm sorry. Sorry, Logan Stat. The eighth circle of hell is now just a constant police chase.
A low-speed police chase at that.
You can never quite outrun them, but they can never quite get him. Constant state of terror.
Yep.
Anyway, sick of talking about you, OJ. Rotten hell. You did it. You deserve everything that's coming to you. You suck. That's all I
Yeah.
have to say. I don't know. I was telling you about this last night, and I know that you're not familiar with this case, but when I was little, the Casey Anthony case was huge. And in case you listening don't know who Casey Anthony is, um, basically her story is that she was like 23, 24-year-old mom in South Florida, and her daughter went missing, but she avoided her parents, like went no contact with her parents, and B did not report her child as missing until like 3 months later. And then when they investigated, they found her child's body in a trash bag with duct tape over her mouth in the back of her car. And she got acquitted after the trial. So, we talk about the wrongfully convicted all the time. We need to talk more about the wrongfully acquitted.
Yeah.
And Casey Anthony is getting hers too. What goes around comes around.
Haha. Get wrecked.
Get wrecked, y'all. But anywho,
Yeah. But speaking of trials,
yeah,
there
and
was
murder and accidental quote unquote murder.
accidental homicide,
Yeah,
and I think it was like a few years ago now. There
yeah,
was the movie Rust with was it Alec Baldwin.
yep,
That's his name,
yep.
where he was holding a gun, acting, and it ended up having a live round in it, and it killed a person on set.
Damn.
And the trials from that have finally sentenced someone, and they ended up sentencing the armorer because that is their job to make
Mm.
sure there's no live rounds when they're
Hmm.
actually filming and stuff.
So there's like a negligence charge
Yeah,
there.
but they only got 18 months, which to me it did seem like the whole thing was an accident.
Yeah.
So,
I I don't know if the armor should have. Well, it was an accident.
yeah.
It's negligence. It needed to be tried and charged as a precedent for other directors to be
Yeah.
more careful.
Mhm.
And I get that, but I just this whole I feel like there is some responsibility on the actor's part also.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not an actor, I don't know what it's like, but it's hard for me to believe that it's that you're just, like, mindless when you're an actor and you just obey
Mhm.
everything because you're no longer who you are, your body is a shell, it's a vessel for the character you're playing, whatever, but, like, you're still
Like, you still
there.
need to notice things,
Yeah.
which a gun being loaded with live rounds instead
Like,
of blank
yeah,
rounds
if it feels a
is
little bit
something difficult to
heavy.
do. Yeah,
Yeah, but
so,
was it a did they say or do you know, was it a revolver? Was it a clip?
I
Like,
think based on the movie, it was probably a revolver.
yeah, they would feel that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a revolver.
Hmm. And when it says up to 18 months in prison, these are like we're talking about Hollywood's elite. They're going to pay to stay in a nicer facility. So it won't really be 18 months in a true prison if that 18 months is completely seen out anyway.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Well, it was the
Mm,
armorers that's kind of like a
mhm.
normal person. They're not a celebrity, they're not part of the elite really.
I feel like I'm not in the film. I feel like they would be. Like the people who work on the movies are still like in that clique. I don't know. I don't work in Hollywood. I wouldn't know. But like my
Yeah.
logic would like if she's working on an Alec Baldwin movie, she's probably paid well.
Mm,
And she's
I don't
probably in
know.
like an inner circle of what she's doing to be picked for that cast spot. Well, not cast spot, but crew spot,
I
whatever.
mean, half the time it's nepotism. So,
True. True.
there was a CNN article that said that she was potentially drunk when
Oh
she
my
was
god.
doing that stuff. So,
Oh, that changes
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
What?
But
That's
essentially,
crazy.
what to
Essentially.
gather from all of this
Yeah.
is that your actions have consequences.
What
Maybe
will
don't
you
kill
learn?
people. Maybe don't put people's lives in danger.
Maybe don't get drunk on the job.
Maybe don't be a bad person.
That's crazy. I didn't know she was drunk. What the or could have been drunk, whatever.
Yeah, but that was just the CNN article that
Oh, it's also
headlined that,
CNN.
so, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know the legitimacy of that.
Can we really trust CNN?
Can we trust really any news site?
Probably not.
Nope. Especially because a lot of news sites like the AP, Associated Press, Reuters, they also control a lot
Readers.
of smaller countries' entire news
Oh,
cycle.
really?
Yeah. So they end up covering up a lot of bad things that
Hmm,
happen. So that's cool.
that's really neat.
Yeah.
I'm so happy about that.
The journalism industry is quite interesting,
Yeah.
especially how the Associated Press kind of has a monopoly on a lot of
Yeah.
media.
I will not
But
dispute that.
yeah. Oh well.
Oh wow. People kill people and get away with it. Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy? All right, friends. Well, that was the first piece of bread in our trauma
Mhm.
sandwich.
Yep.
And today we're showing that yes, a sandwich is defined by what is in between the bread.
Mhm.
Because we're continuing our conversation about trauma. And I think not I think. I know because I was there. Last episode we talked a lot about what it is, what it could be, how we've
Mhm.
experienced it. And today we'll be talking about the effects of trauma, how to move on from it, how to deal with it, how to live with it, how to accept that it may never really go away, but it can become an easier thing to deal with over time.
Yeah.
And I'll absolutely be the first to admit that my coping mechanisms traditionally have not quite been the best. And a lot of the rebound from trauma is reliant on the way that you cope with it, at least in my experience. And I like a lot like coping behaviors typically are learned behaviors. You don't like come out the womb knowing how to cope with stuff. You watch the way your friends, your parents, your siblings, the way that they handle things, you mimic that. What
Mhm.
and they're simultaneously mimicking behaviors from the influences that they see and they witness.
And even now,
Mhm.
there's people that can pick up coping behaviors from the internet,
Yeah. Oh my god. That's huge. I
which
didn't even
is
think about that.
probably not a good thing
No.
because everyone is
And
supposed to cope in different ways.
mhm.
And when you're learning how to cope, you often mimic other people and their coping,
Mhm.
and that doesn't necessarily work.
No. And especially with like macro level like influencers who
Mhm,
have millions of people mimicking their exact behaviors. There you have millions of people who could be coping in an ineffective way
mhm,
because they're just copying something that they saw on the internet from somebody that they trust, not necessarily something that is good for their physiology.
yeah,
Something that I have kind of tried to do to work on my coping skills is like kind of the new like trendy it word that all the like Instagram and TikTok girls use to describe their like the slow hobby thing, you know what I mean? Like crocheting, knitting, reading, the grandma hobbies.
yeah, grandma hobbies.
And like I don't know, I'm also quite the gatekeeper. So whenever I see
Mhm.
it on Instagram, I'm like, those aren't your grandma hobbies. They're my grandma hobbies. Back off. Um like you're not actually a grandma, but
Yeah, I think that
I
with those
digress.
types of coping things, like, there are
Uh-huh.
some that are better than others,
Mm,
just as a base level thing,
mhm.
but again, like, sometimes those grandma hobbies might not work for someone.
Yeah.
Like, maybe instead of crocheting something, you need to be more active and need to, like, work out to cope or
Mhm.
something.
Like go run or something.
Mhm.
Oh, I wish running was a coping mechanism for me, but it's just too freaking
Yeah.
painful.
Yeah.
Like I will never run to seek comfort. And I think that's something for me. I have a hard time distinguishing between cope like a coping mechanism and just straight escapism.
Mhm.
And I run to escapism
Yeah.
a lot. Like anything to put myself in any alternate situation, alternate reality,
Mhm.
any like comforting situation as opposed to the situation that has been distressing me. That's how my brain is wired.
Yeah. And I think
And that's not a good coping mechanism because it
yeah.
very much detaches me from reality.
Mhm.
And that's probably why I have large blocks of memory loss or like a loss of
Mhm.
identity because I'm somewhere else.
Yeah, I do think that a lot of people use escapism as their coping,
Mhm.
but
Yep.
it doesn't really work,
No.
at least for most people.
Like it will never satisfy your brain enough to let it
Mhm.
heal. Yeah.
Yeah, like, you can't ignore the things that have happened
Nope.
and just escape to your next thing.
Yeah. And put all your
The thing with
intention on the next
coping
stage. Yeah.
yeah, the thing with coping is that you're coping with the trauma, you're facing it and trying to understand it and
Mhm.
trying to find ways that you can heal from that.
Right. And not run from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the definition of cope
Mhm.
is to deal with and attempt to overcome problems and difficulties, or to maintain a contest or combat, usually on even terms or with success. So, like,
Oh,
you're meeting your trauma, you're trying to fight it, you're encountering it. So, it's
and
not
then
avoiding it.
right. And the dictionary definition of coping has that element of like triumphing over it, right? Did I hear that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Because you always think of coping as the steps you take to get to the triumph, not the triumph implicit in those
Yeah.
steps itself. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's like coping would be like you're taking those steps, then when you have coped
Mhm.
with the trauma, you've understood it, you've kind of, like, triumphed over it, yeah.
Like, you're taking the steps to move on
Mhm.
and, like, probably playing a very active part in the moving on.
Yeah. Like Rocky
Yeah.
Balboa.
I love him. I love me some Rocky.
Yeah.
We should have a Rocky episode where we just talk about Rocky.
And the fact that they've made so many movies from that.
As they should. I've only
I think
seen the
there's
first one and the second one, but
I think there's 8 in total if you
Woo.
count the Creed
Yeah,
ones
Apollo
as well.
Creed. Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause I know there's Rocky 1 through 5.
And then Creed.
Yeah. I don't think there's any more Rocky
I
movies.
think is Balboa part of the 1 through 5?
Maybe?
I love him so much. I have such a crush on Cy Stallone. It's not funny. I love him. Like even now when he is half stroked out in his freaking 80s, jacked up, steroided to the max. I
Mhm.
love him. I would do anything for him.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Balboa is separate from 1 through 5. So there's 6
Dang.
Rocky films and then 3 Creed films, but it seems
That's
like they are
crazy.
working on a 4th Creed film. So
That's
there will be
nuts.
10 Rocky films.
That is so crazy.
Yeah, it was announced by Michael B. Jordan that he's working on it in February of last year.
Really?
And then Sylvester Stallone in 2019 said that he had another story about Rocky Balboa, which would be the 7th Rocky film.
I'm so glad he does.
Yeah, but they're stuck in negotiations, it seems like, with that, or script issues or something. And Michael B. Jordan made a short film for Creed, anime style, Japan only. That's crazy. Limited release in US. Okay.
Real.
It'll come later. It might already be out, but huh?
Hmm.
Sci-fi interplanetary oriented story about 3 young boxers in outer
What
space.
the fuck? Okay, maybe put that one back in. Put that one back in the vault.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's no thanks. No thanks, Sly. That's not a good one.
Yeah. Oh, maybe TV series as well?
Oh man. You know what? Let's
Eh, why is there so much Rocky?
yeah, now we're getting a little bit too much. Too much Rocky. I never thought I would say that, but I am.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
It all came from one film about a guy getting beat up in boxing.
One guy who didn't know how to read,
Yeah.
who fell in love with a chick who owned a pet shop. She didn't own the pet shop. She worked at the pet shop.
Yeah.
There you go. And he bought a freaking turtle. Well, I'm dumping Rocky. I love Rocky.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And
compassion fatigue. Oh, sorry.
the first one won Best Picture as well.
As it should. That's a good picture.
None of the other ones have gotten anything near that.
I feel like the first one is objectively the best one
Yeah.
in any series. The first film
Mhm.
is always going to be the best.
Yeah.
Like, look at Twilight. The first one, by far, is the best film.
Mhm.
The fourth ones are second. But it's the finale. It's got to go hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing as they're still making Rocky movies, we don't have a last Rocky movie yet. But
Yeah.
maybe when
We
Sly
won't get
kicks
our
the
last
bucket.
one until Sylvester Stallone kicks the bucket. And even then, we might still get more.
We might still get one. His daughters might take it over.
Well, we'll still get more Creed stuff, so
Oh, that's true. Like, the mainline Rocky universe will be
yeah,
ended. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Creed is technically
Mainline Rocky?
mainline because it does tie in with it, because it does have Rocky Balboa, like, training Creed,
Uh,
at least in the first one, but
doesn't actually, I'm not gonna spoil Creed because I haven't seen it, but
yeah,
I feel like I know something about Creed that I shouldn't.
I don't know.
Anyway, fam, compassion fatigue. Compassion fatigue, right? Like, it's a thing, it's
Yeah,
real. It is hard to exist in today's world and see everything that's going on. And caveat, if you have empathy, it is not hard to feel your heart being tugged in a billion different directions and you feel like you can't do anything to help. And it becomes an exhaustive, depressive weight that you can't do anything to help, you know what I mean?
mhm,
Um, but in my jaded opinion, compassion fatigue is a privilege and not a trauma itself. Because, well, yes, it's great that you have empathy and you can sympathize with these people's pain as much as you want to be empathetic, you will probably never know what that's like. And I'm
yeah,
talking like the huge scale, like multi-year, multinational wars, like socioeconomic disparities that have been brought to light as a result
mhm,
of recent world happenings, like
mhm, and corporate greed.
in corporate greed. Like, your energy is so much better spent when you're actually taking tangible steps to help and not just trying to mimic the trauma on your own body.
Mhm,
And not knowing how to start helping is scary, adds to it. But there are 2 points I want to make here. One of them is this. So there is a climate biologist who came up with a 3-part Venn diagram to kind of help people see what the action that they can take to help the climate crisis can look like. And this graph was designed with the climate crisis in mind, but her name is Ayana. Oh my god, it's Ayana Johnson or Ayana Taylor. I don't remember which one. But she said herself that this can be applied to any situation. So you start by looking at what brings you joy. And then from that, you go down to what are you good at? And then you look at what the need is that needs to be filled. And where all 3 of those circles intersect, that is the action that you can take today to make a difference.
hmm,
Yeah, it's really interesting. Um, so like I already mentioned it before, crocheting brings me joy. I like to crochet. I also like to think I'm good at crocheting. I've been crocheting for like 2 years. Hopefully I'm good at it by now. But if I know, say it's like December and homeless people are cold on the streets, I can make blankets and give them to local shelter organizations or just people. You can drive down Kankakee and see people living in tents beneath benches. Like, it's not that hard to see the homeless in your town.
yeah,
And then you make them blankets and then you give them blankets. That's how I can help. And the second point going off of that, if you're not actively trying to figure out how you can help and you're just wallowing in this manufactured pity that you have for yourself, that is a proxy of the pity that you should be giving other people, you suck.
yeah,
Like, if you're in a position to help and you're refusing to help just because you like the attention that being a by proxy victim brings you, you suck.
yeah.
And
Or
I'm sure you'll take this in a more positive light. But
or it's there's a John Mulaney bit
Oh my god.
where it's the one where he's like, "I saw 2 kids get beat up at school," and he's like, his dad is like, "Well, did you help him?" Like, "No, I was sitting on the bench."
I was sitting on the bench.
'Cause I was sitting on the bench.
I was sitting on the bench.
Yeah, that would be those people.
Like, you're just sitting on the bench. You're watching it. You have sympathy, great, but
Yeah,
you can do things to help.
yeah. There are some situations where it is harder to help.
Mhm. Like, definitely.
Mhm.
I'm I am not telling you to go board a plane and go to the Middle East and spread your humanitarian aid out there.
Yeah,
No. But if you have the money to afford that plane ticket, donate it to aid organizations.
yeah,
Write your congressman and tell them to call for whatever you want them to call for.
yeah,
Ceasefire. Sorry.
yeah. Or tell Joe Biden, "Get your butt over there."
Joe Biden. No, but no public figures are going to travel to the Middle East
No.
because they will probably die, which sucks.
Yeah,
Every political figure needs some Jimmy Carter peanut farm
mhm,
energy.
yeah.
we need
Like,
we need the Camp David Accords to come back.
yeah. Or even during President Trump's presidency, like, he went into North Korea,
You did.
which is, like, crazy.
Mm-hmm. He did do that.
Yeah,
I remember when I think he went to. Remember, I think it was when the hurricane hit Florida. He went down to Florida and he was
yeah.
walking through like it still makes me laugh to this day. Like he was walking through all the damage and there's a boat turned over on the side of the road. And he goes, the president of the United States, he goes, whose boat is this boat? And that's so like the funniest thing I've ever witnessed in my entire
Yeah.
life. I'm gonna YouTube it right now because I need to see it. I
Or
need
when
that
he looked
joy back in my life.
or when he looked directly at the sun during a solar eclipse without the glasses.
He was so real for that.
Yeah.
I don't think the glass. I don't personally. I think if I looked at the sun without glasses, I think I'd be fine.
I don't think you would.
You know what? I'll figure it out. It was North Carolina, not Florida. My
Yeah.
mistake.
I think the Florida one was the one where he wanted to nuke it
Where
because
he
he did
what?
want to nuke a hurricane, which,
That is
I mean,
well,
it probably
well.
wouldn't work, but who else would try it, you
Who
know?
else would try it?
You never know,
You
right?
never know. You could
Just
pioneer a new field of
yeah,
meteorology
yeah,
without
explosive.
knowing it. Yeah.
Just make sure you don't use one that has radiation on it.
Yeah. That would not be
That
that would
would
not
that would
be
be
good.
bad, because then it would just if the hurricane survives, it would not be good.
Yeah.
Radioactive hurricane.
God, whose boat is this boat was 5 years ago? That's crazy. I wonder
Whose bed is
if
this boat?
drop it into spout. I feel like if you put enough just like brute force, you would probably tear apart the storm clouds.
Potentially. It
Maybe.
seems like that's what the plot of Twisters is.
Oh, the new one?
Yeah.
The
Like,
old one is freaking
they
lit.
have a shot in the trailer for the new one where they release explosives into the tornado.
Oh my god. Trump's gonna try that.
Yeah. But then again, you never know, right?
Yeah.
For science.
For science. Trump is a big science guy.
Yep, he sure is.
Donald Trump, the science guy.
especially with how we should inject ourselves with bleach in order to stave off COVID-19.
I mean, if Lysol says it kills COVID, if COVID's in my body, if I put Lysol also in my body,
I'm free of
logic
COVID,
serves. It should work.
but it also kills 99.99% of germs, and you kind of need your
You need
bacterias to
bacteria in your gut
live. You need them that
if you
gut
want to digest food.
microbiome.
Yeah,
I love my gut microbiome.
I love my gut. I'm so glad my gut is real. My gut's a real one.
Yeah. But
Oh,
also,
man.
speaking of
Yeah.
COVID-19,
Uh-huh.
trauma.
Trauma. COVID-19 caused a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
Um, and something that I really do not appreciate is media portrayals of COVID in like TV shows and stuff. Like, I get it. COVID happened,
Mhm.
but I don't really think we need to have like a whole Grey's Anatomy
Oh
season
my gosh.
about COVID. I don't think we need to have another Grey's Anatomy season, period. But
It's Grey's Anatomy is the One Piece for white women.
oh, you're so true.
One Piece is an anime that has been going on for a very long time.
Like they're on like 1,100
Over 1,000
episodes.
episodes.
Yeah, I need to watch One Piece. I do want to watch One Piece.
Yeah. There's just too much.
It's just so much. Anyway, like, and the way that like trauma is as a whole is depicted in like on TV and
Mhm.
movies, even in like music, is coming from a totally different perspective than the people making it have a different perspective than the people who are consuming that media post production.
Mhm.
So like yes, it will get skewed. It's nobody's fault really, but I don't know. I guess this also comes from my preconception of like TV writers and producers and whatever being like a part of the elite in Hollywood and not really having a clue about what the common man is feeling.
Mhm.
Which is why we have like outrageous freaking plot lines.
Yeah.
Also because of the drama. People love drama, but
Yeah. And at the same time, one of the things that I think is taught with, like, script writing and stuff is
yeah,
that reality is better. You want things to be more real. But I think
real.
that's what the mindset of the consumers right now is that we don't really want that.
hmm Like we want an escape.
Mhm. But I think
Like we
Hollywood is
want.
just kind of, like, combining the real, the fantasy, and it's like
Mhm.
all these different things that people have wanted in the past, they're all just being combined together into one amalgamation, and it's not very good.
Yeah.
Disney live action remakes.
Hello.
Mhm. Or they're just using AI and it's regurgitating all these other things that
That's true. Mm.
yeah,
If you
it's
tell
probably
AI what you
AI.
want, yeah. If you tell AI what you want, it'll make it exactly the way that you imagine it.
Yeah, Madam Web.
Mm.
He was with my mother in the Amazon researching spiders when she died.
Yeah. Me too, actually.
Yeah.
But I feel like it also shows like euphoria,
Mhm.
like that are like trying to depict the teenage experience for an adult viewer, which number one is pedophilia and fucking weird anyway.
Yeah.
So sorry, I keep
That whole show
swearing.
is weird. Like, I'm not
Oh,
gonna watch that show.
it's weird.
Yeah.
And like I feel weird watching shows about teenagers
Mhm.
as an adult. Like Glee. I don't think I could rewatch Glee.
No.
Because like I know the actors are teenagers, but like when I'm watching two people who are pretending to be 16-year-olds have sex on TV, it makes me feel weird.
Yeah, it's uncomfy.
It's uncomfy. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, shows like Euphoria, Glee to
Mhm.
a lesser extent because like the mid 2000 teen shows, I feel like are not more innocent, but
Glee's not innocent.
not innocent, but definitely more reserved
Yeah.
in the
They're not
stuff
over the
that
top
happens. No. Euphoria is over the top. And the same guy
until we got to
directs both of
Riverdale.
them.
Riverdale was the tipping
Riverdale
point.
was ridiculous.
That was the tipping point.
Oh my god. But yeah, the way these shows depict teen angst and teen trauma and teen suffering is so unrealistic. And like it's making real life teens harm themselves to imitate that. And it's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's like how much of the teenage experience is influenced by these shows now?
Probably I'm not a teenager, I can't tell you, but
Because I
probably
think
a lot.
initially those shows were influenced by the teenage experience,
Mhm.
but now those shows have gotten a bit more over the top because they
Mm.
needed to bring in more viewers, more people to watch.
Yeah.
And so they're still portraying that teenage experience, and the teenagers are seeing that and then being like, "Oh, this is what my experience is supposed to be like, so I'm gonna emulate
Yes.
that,"
Yep.
which is not good
No. I feel
because there's a
like
lot of bad things in those shows.
yeah, things that teenagers do not do and things that don't happen to teenagers.
Yeah.
Like freaking this is a bit before your time, but Secret Life of the American Teenager was crazy. And it just got to the point where the most ridiculous stuff was happening because the writers were so trying to be very intentional about like being accurate to what the
Mhm.
experience of being a teen mom is like, being like cognizant of like, yes, ideally you're married before you have a kid, things like that.
Mhm.
Um, but that ended up being every character getting married before they're out of high school, which was just so crazy. And like maybe one of those marriages worked out.
Yeah.
Like that show was crazy. When Molly Ringwald came out on that show, that was nuts. Top 10 moment in TV history. But man, if you ever have free time, I do suggest watching Secret Life of the American Teenager because it did not age well. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, there's one scene where um, I forget her freaking name, but she's played by Shailene Woodley. Amy. She's like coping with the fact that she got pregnant from her first time having sex at 15 at band camp.
Not at band camp.
From my experience, nobody is having sex at band camp.
Uh-uh. No.
Um, no.
Unless it's the
Um,
low brass.
unless it's the brass or the drum
I feel
line,
like yeah. I feel like
which is
if anyone would,
it would probably be low brass.
it would be those. But
I
even
mean,
then,
have you seen
I
the
still doubt it.
have you seen the Wolfpack? They're fruity
Yeah.
as hell. Olivet joke. Someone's gonna come at me for
Yeah.
that one.
But even then, like, I still doubt
Even
it.
then, they're probably doing it with each other, not with girls or the flutes. Sorry, I need to stop talking about band.
Yeah, the flutes
Um,
are a
the flutes are
different kind of
crazy. Do
yeah.
not trust a flute player.
Never
She's
trust a flute.
insane. We should do a whole episode on band stereotypes. I think that
We
would be funny.
should. We should.
Um, someone write that down.
Write that down, write that down.
Stereotypes. Okay. I feel a little okay. But anyway, she's like talking to the new guy at school who likes her, who isn't the guy who impregnated her, but the guy at school who she like kind of wants to be her boyfriend, but she is scared to tell him that because she's pregnant and she's like freaking out because she's pregnant and she's like I'm such a whore, and he's like, well, you're my whore.
What?
Yeah. And I was
Huh?
like, oh my god, that was a choice.
Yeah, that's okay.
Teens, that does not happen in real life.
Yeah. I don't know,
I
maybe
can
it's just because of, like, the community I was raised in,
uh-huh.
but being a teenager was, like, kind of boring. honestly.
Yeah. Like, definitely being a teenager in a more rural area as
Yeah.
opposed to an urban
Mhm.
area has a huge impact on your life
Yeah.
experience.
'Cause, like, when I was a teen, there weren't, like, these huge ragers. Not that I was
Uh-huh.
invited to any anyway, if there were any,
Yeah.
but, like, yeah, there wasn't a lot of that stuff. Like, yeah, there were definitely, like, kids that vaped and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um,
There were my school had drug dealers,
yeah,
but that
I
was a
think
bit
that's
like
kind of just a thing.
all the girls waited to get pregnant until after high school. Thank
Yeah,
God.
yeah. I think there was, like, 1 or 2 in my school that ended up getting pregnant, like, essentially right before they graduated,
Mhm.
so it wasn't, like, a huge deal.
Right? Not the worst. At
Yeah, at least they're not a freshman.
least they're not a freshman and it's not a 18-year-old's baby. That would
Yeah,
be that gets messy
yikes.
really quickly.
Yeah,
I don't feel like we've eloquently talked about trauma in the media versus real life. It's just
yeah.
different.
It's it's almost like it's I mean, it is making money off of trauma, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, they're
Yeah.
monetizing trauma.
Like you are capitalizing off of
Mhm,
catharsis.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I do think that there are times where trauma is done really well in media.
Name one.
Recently in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish,
What?
there's, Puss in
That's
Boots,
crazy.
he's experienced, like, anxiety and a lot of stuff like that, and, like, it's pretty
Aw,
accurate.
plus. I need to see
Yeah,
that.
it's really good. You should see it. I love the art style as well.
Yeah. On is it on the same level as the Mario movie, or is it
I
above,
think it's
below?
better.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, yeah. Like, it's probably one of the I don't think it's the best animated movie of recent
Mhm.
years, but it's definitely up there, like a
Nice.
modern classic, essentially.
Hmm, mm, check it out then.
Yeah, I think
I need
it's
to
on
watch more
Netflix,
movies in general, but yeah, nice.
so yeah, it's
Mm,
very good.
I feel like non-Western media too
Mhm.
has more of an edge than Western media. I don't know why.
A lot of
Um,
anime.
a lot of anime. I'm sorry. Um,
Yeah.
there's um a book that got turned into a movie called Normal People by Sally Rooney, and she's an Irish literary
Mhm.
fiction author. Very good. It really shows the dynamics and complexities of a toxic relationship really well.
Mhm.
Even now that I'm thinking about it, the way that Mabel Mora's mental illness is portrayed in Only Murders in the Building is spot on.
Yeah.
Like the way that her flashbacks happen,
Mhm.
um, her like her blackouts, it's just legit.
Mhm. Can't wait
um,
for season 4.
cannot wait for season 4.
Ah.
I am on the edge of my seat.
Mhm.
And I know I said what I said earlier about consuming media that is about teens as an adult, but I was a John Green girly growing up, read all of his books, and
Mhm.
whenever each one gets turned into a series adaptation, I watch it and I love it because, of course, they're incredible. They're filming for Turtles All the Way Down, which is a book about anxiety, and I love
Mhm.
that book. I'm going to love the show. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
You will find that I am a hypocrite quite often on the podcast, but it's okay. It happens. And like
Yeah,
a
I
point
think
about
there's,
John
like
Green that I find interesting. Oh, I'm sorry.
I think there's, like, certain things that you watch as a teen or even as a kid
Yeah.
that will just, like, stick with you as
Hmm.
an adult, like, keep watching it if there's more
Yeah.
content for it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think like
Mhm.
an interesting thing about John Green too is that he is a white middle-aged man from Indiana,
Yeah,
and most of the protagonists in his books are teenage girls, and I think which is weird,
yeah,
but the way that like his outsider perspective that's informed by his own experience with mental illness comes
mhm,
across and the protagonists of his books is crazy. I don't know how he does it.
yeah,
I think out of the 8 or 9 books he's written, and I'm including books that he co-wrote with other authors too, and
yeah.
this total, I think 3 of them have a male protagonist.
Hmm,
3 out of the 9, a third.
not too bad.
Not too bad. That I'm not counting Augustus from The Fault in Our Stars because he is not. That book is about Hazel Grace.
Yeah, he's not the main character
He's
really.
not the main character. It's Hazel Grace.
Yeah.
Even in Paper Towns, I this is not a John Green analysis episode, but I feel like in Paper Towns, Margot was more the protagonist than the actual protagonist. Highly recommend John Green books, even as an adult. They're good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Mm,
nowadays we
mm-hmm.
are starting to see more accurate depictions of trauma and mental illness, mental disorders, and stuff
Mm-hmm.
in media, just because it is like talked about more
Yeah.
and people are more open about it, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, like you can definitely tell when something just isn't accurate.
Yeah. Isn't quite placed well.
Hmm.
Not quite researched, maybe.
Yeah, or just like added in for the sake of adding it in.
And like I wonder too if like the presence of streaming platforms
Hmm.
has like pressured network or just networks in general to make more meaningful content.
I don't know.
I don't know. Because I feel like that like there is a shift too.
Hmm.
Like shows like This Is Us and or even like Big Bang Theory was just a jokey sitcom
Hmm.
until Hulu started and then it got more serious. You know what I mean? I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah,
there's definitely a link
hmm,
between the onset of streaming platforms and
yeah,
the meaningful content of a show.
because I think with like cable TV,
Mhm.
where you have like your just generic sitcoms or reality TV shows, you're almost just
Yeah.
trying to get the person hooked on something mindless as
Mhm.
they're just like scrolling through
Yeah.
because everything's just playing when you're scrolling through on cable.
Like you just have the cable on in the background.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now I think because all the streaming services need to squeeze every single penny out of us,
Mm.
they need to keep us
Make us
on
want
their
to buy them.
platform for
Oh, that's a
longer,
good point. Yeah.
so you have to make better content. But
That's a
then on
really
the
good
other
point.
hand, they keep raising the prices of them, so
Mhm.
and
You
adding in
want good content,
ads
which is so bogus. I'm already
and
paying
restricting password sharing.
Netflix for looking at you.
Yeah. Literally all of the exact things that streaming services were made for
Mhm.
was to be better than cable because cable had tons of ads, it was super expensive,
Yep.
limited channels. Streaming services were made to combat that, so you would have tons of content you can watch anytime you want, no ads, you can share it with other people, so it's, like, super cheap.
Mhm.
But now, streaming services are crazy expensive if you get all of them because
Yeah.
all the content is splintered off into all these different companies now.
Yeah.
Then they keep raising the prices. They've added in ads for every single streaming service now, restricting password sharing, so it's more expensive and you can't, like,
You
share it
can
with
share
someone.
it. Yeah.
And then recently, Disney said that they're wanting to look into having, like, their shows be, like, on live TV, essentially. It's like in Disney Plus, you would have a thing where it's different channels, and it would have different shows, like Marvel shows, just going, like, 24/7 as if it was on cable. And it's like, we've made cable again, but with extra steps,
Oh my god.
and you wonder why people are returning to piracy. Like,
Piracy was never dead.
no, but it's coming back.
That's shit. I love piracy.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Don't arrest me.
Like, I'm not gonna pay $15 a month just to watch 1 show a month,
Yeah.
essentially,
Mhm.
or even, like, 1 show, couple shows a year,
Yeah.
you know? Like, I'm just not gonna do that, especially when you keep removing the content that people would want to watch as well,
Yeah.
because you will rent everything and be happy.
Public libraries exist and they have DVDs still. So
Mhm. You will own nothing.
I bought a DVD player recently
Yeah.
because I'm trying to start collecting Lupin the Third DVDs
Mhm.
because there's like 50 movies, so I
Yeah.
wanna collect. Um, and I was like, oh hey, I can just get whatever DVD I want from the library
Mm.
and watch it now.
Yeah.
Like crazy. But if
And,
all
like,
these streaming services could just combine and charge like $40 a month, like
yeah, which is also the same as cable packages.
yeah,
Huh.
they would they would put cable out of business.
Yeah. Or if you want live TV, you can get an antenna.
Oh, I love antennas.
Haha. You can literally get
I'm
one at, like, Walmart for, like, 20, $30.
yeah, I need to get one. You reminded me I need to get one of those.
Yeah. And, like, I can just watch the local news for
Yep.
free.
Oh man, I was in fact an antenna girl. I grew up on that shit. Sorry, I keep swearing. Oh my gosh. You just know antennas are near and dear to my heart. Antennas and DVDs. I was
Yeah.
raised.
Yeah, I think now would probably be a good time to start buying things physically again,
Mhm. Yeah.
because, yes, digitally purchasing things is very convenient. Don't have to
Mm.
put a DVD in or anything like
No.
that. It's just all digital, but now
In
companies
the
are trying to be
event
like,
that our clouds get bombed. I'm
yeah,
kidding.
companies just like, "What if we just remove that content that you paid for, and now you can't watch it anymore?
Like,
Too
what if
bad."
like we know you bought Netflix just to watch The Office and to watch Friends in 2019.
Yeah.
But we're actually going to sell it back to Peacock.
Mhm.
Love ya. Life is hard.
Yeah. There's a video game company, I think it was Ubisoft, probably
Mhm.
Ubisoft, where I think it was a previous CEO or something. No, it was, maybe it was Blizzard. I don't know, there was a gaming, like, higher up person
Mhm. Right.
that essentially said that they don't want people to buy physical anymore. They want everything to be digital for purchases from them, which is not good because Ubisoft is also a company that is literally made it impossible for people to play certain games if they bought it digitally. Like,
Mhm.
they've shut them down. Like, they didn't shut the servers down, but they just straight up shut the game down. You can't even
Hmm.
log in.
Yeah.
Like, they just removed it from
Oh my
existence.
god.
Yeah.
God, if Blizzard did that, all of the World of Warcraft
No,
fans would
it
be
wasn't Blizzard,
pissed.
it was
Yeah,
Ubisoft.
it was Ubisoft.
Yeah. But there was a Blizzard former executive that said that you should be able to tip developers for certain games.
Tip developers? So you don't
Yeah.
have to pay them as much money?
Yeah. And he was like, "Yeah, if you finish, like, a single player game that was really special to you, you should be able to tip the developers, like, 10, $20 extra." Like, 1,
Mm,
that money is not going to the developers. Let's be real here.
no, no.
It's gonna go to the publishers, that's gonna go
Yeah,
to the individual company that developed the game,
yeah,
and then the actual developers would get, like, I don't know, a penny.
yeah,
Like, that's there's, like, certain independent gaming sites that
yeah,
independent developers upload to, and those have tip options on them.
yeah, like
But then
the
again, it's
.ios, yeah.
independent developers. Like, it's not large publishers that are taking those tips.
No,
Like, it's just going straight to the developer because it's only one guy
yeah.
or a small team of people.
Just one guy.
Yeah. Like, there was, like, Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. It was one guy that made that.
Mhm.
Well, the first 2 games of that, or, like, Stardew Valley. It was one guy that made that.
Yeah.
And it's also really funny when those independent games beat out big AAA games. It's so funny.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, you all spent so many years, so much money producing a
Mhm.
game that takes 200 gigabytes to download for Call of Duty,
Yep.
and yet you're being beat out by a little game
Mhm.
about collecting junk in space.
That should to clue you into something.
Yeah.
There is 2 more trauma points.
Mhm,
So, how to not let trauma intervene with our relationships.
mhm,
So it can, and it will, right?
mhm.
I don't know if I don't know if you can really prevent it, right? Because
Yeah,
a lot of our reactions to trauma are just quite involuntary and we cannot help it, whether that be like mood swings,
yeah.
anything else. I can think of a couple others I probably should not say on the podcast, but and especially in romantic partnerships, like your person, depending on the trauma, may not have experienced it as directly as you have. So then it adds a layer of responsibility on their part to respond accordingly. And new emotions make people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
That's just how it is. So there there isn't a way probably to keep trauma 100% out of every relationship.
yeah, that's probably not gonna happen. Because
No.
then if you try to do that, then there's gonna be trauma that forms from the relationship.
Hmm. Yeah. Like you will be closed off. You're
Mhm.
not fostering intimacy that way, right?
Yeah, and one of the core things with relationships is communication.
Mhm.
Like, you need to be open about things within relationships, otherwise it doesn't end very good.
No. Sorry, I just realized Taylor Swift puts out her new album tomorrow and I am not ready.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Like the whole shtick with this one is that it's an album of poetry, quote unquote.
That's what all songs are.
I hope she isn't dropping a whole album of freaking spoken word.
Songs come from poetry.
Songs come from poetry.
Like, that's how it is.
And like I love her to death, but whenever she puts out a new album, I like I feel like I wait in the wings for a little bit before I listen to it, no
Yeah.
matter how excited I am, because based on the trauma that I've experienced in my life, I don't like feeling emotions, and I'm
Yeah,
afraid to feel emotions. So
yeah,
when I know something's gonna make me emotional, I avoid it at all costs.
yeah,
But
yeah. I don't really listen to Taylor Swift, like, at all, just because,
yeah,
like, the type of music she puts out is not the
not your
genres
time.
of music I prefer.
That's totally okay.
Yeah, but, like, I can still acknowledge that she's very gifted and she
Mm,
makes some good songs.
nice.
Do they
I
all kind of
appreciate.
sound similar? Yeah,
Uh,
but when you have artists in certain genres, all of their songs are gonna sound similar.
yeah,
Like, it's just how it is.
yeah. Like she does her. She fits in many genres very
Mhm,
well, and she knows. I think, and I think also what it comes down to is like a lot of music is a formula, right?
mhm.
So when
Yeah,
you find one successful like chord progression and a key that suits your voice,
mhm.
like naturally that's kind of what you're going to tend to stick with when you're
Yeah,
producing music.
yeah.
Um like ABBA did it.
Mhm. Oh,
All of ABBA's
absolutely.
all of ABBA's music is in the key of B.
Yeah.
Like because that was the key that 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 the men of ABBA knew would make
Mhm.
the girls' voices sound good together.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Yeah,
Oh.
like, a lot of Metallica songs sound
Yeah.
similar.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, wow, it's almost like their music genre is metal.
It's
Wow.
almost like metal has, like, really outstanding characteristics, like
Yeah.
how pop does.
Mhm. Yeah, that's one of the things with a lot of people, especially online, they're just like, "I don't like Taylor Swift, all her music just sounds the exact same." It's like,
Yeah.
it's called a genre.
It's called
The
a
reason it
genre.
sounds the same is because it's all in the same genre.
Yeah.
It's like you could read, like, a sci-fi book from one author,
Mhm.
you could read another sci-fi book from a different author, and there's gonna be
You can
similarities.
you can have similar elements of sci-fi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, really weird names for stuff.
If you read one Stephen King book,
Mhm.
you've probably read them all.
Yeah,
Like, that's just the nature of a genre. So,
yeah,
thank you for defending Taylor Swift. I
yes.
appreciate it. And I was gonna say that that's kinda how Ghost is, but I feel like Ghost is like that very much like within albums. Like, their 4th album is very much like just spooky Scooby-Doo music, and then the last one is very much like 70s and 80s, like,
Mhm.
rock, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I
The
think
first
that's
2
kind
were
of
like dirges, but we're not gonna
Mhm.
talk about that.
Yeah, I think it's the different albums. I think
Yeah.
it is for some people because a lot of Taylor Swift's albums all sound similar to each other,
Mhm.
whereas some artists, each album does sound different.
Hmm.
Like the
Yeah.
Beatles, like all their albums sound
All
wildly
their
different,
albums sound wild, yeah. We
but
can
it's
thank
also
the
the
drugs
Beatles.
for that. It's also the
Yeah,
Beatles.
like the Sergeant Pepper's album is gonna sound different than the White Album.
And boy, oh boy, did it.
Yeah, like, oh wow, it's almost like the artist didn't want to stay in their one genre.
It's almost like they got sick of indie. Honestly,
Yeah.
the Beatles were probably the first indie artist, if you think
Oh
about
yeah,
it.
and then they got mainstream.
Then they got mainstream. Sometimes I really think about like the rise and fall of the Beatles and if they would have been better off without getting wildly famous, but
Yeah.
then we wouldn't have Abbey Road or the White Album
No.
or Let It Be,
Ugh,
and we probably would not have their solo careers.
no.
And for As hard as it is to defend Yoko Ono, you gotta admit, John Lennon's solo career would not be as prolific without her.
Yeah.
She wrote Imagine. Like,
Yeah.
sorry, we're kind of off. So that came out
Yeah.
of left field, but
Yeah, we're just adding
um,
a bunch of different toppings to our sandwich today, you
just
know?
yeah, we're just when you go through Subway and you think like, oh, I don't want pickles, but then you see the pickles and they look really good, and you're like, damn, I want some pickles.
Yeah. Like,
I always
ooh.
get pickles on my Subway, but
Yeah.
as a vegetarian, I'm kind of forced to. I put all of it on except olives.
Yeah. No
No, it
olives.
depends if I'm in an olive mood.
Eh, I don't know. I like some meat on my sandwiches.
Yeah,
I like meat. It's yummy.
I don't eat meat. I don't find it yummy. That's just my
Uh,
opinion.
Yeah. That's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I told you about the car seat class I took the past couple of days, and
Mhm.
they like brought us food from like Jersey Mike's and Subways and stuff like that. But like each day was like a sandwich shop. So literally, I got the vegetarian sandwiches for 3 days. And like by the third day, they knew which one was mine just because it said veggie, and they were like, "Here you go." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Thanks."
Yeah.
Have you ever had McAllister's?
I feel like I probably have.
It is so fly. It is awesome.
Uh,
They
I don't
have baked
remember.
potatoes. Oh my god,
Man,
I love me a baked potato.
me too.
I'm a big potato fan.
I like potatoes.
Putting potatoes on the sandwich.
Yeah.
So where does our generation go from here? How do we move forward with our trauma? How do we shift from seeing it as baggage to, I don't know. What do we see it as if it's not baggage,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think we kinda have to start there with uh, how does our generation see trauma?
Mhm.
Which, from my perspective, it
Right.
seems like trauma is trivialized.
It's invalidated because we're just kids and we don't know how we're feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, there's that, and then also trauma is quirky.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I think that's why people see it as trivialized within our generation,
Mhm.
because there are a lot of people that use it as a quirk,
Yeah.
something that helps them try to stand out from the crowd, you know?
Yeah. Something that like sets them apart and makes them not like other people, but
Yeah.
in all honesty, when it's viewed that way, it kind of makes the people who are genuinely hurting
Mhm.
suffer more because they don't have the same outlet because they're not as vocal about it. And
Yeah.
then they just kind of get brushed off.
Yeah. Yeah, like, a lot of people on the internet will just be
Mm,
like, "Oh, I definitely have this, this, and this mental disorders." And it's like,
yeah.
"Have you been tested by a trained psychiatrist?" "No, but I don't need to." Like, "Yes, you do,
Yeah.
because that's really the only way to know for sure if you
Hmm.
have those mental disorders, mental illnesses, and things wrong with your brain.
Yeah.
BuzzFeed cannot diagnose you."
The internet cannot diagnose you.
No. Like, we remember, like, you would put in your symptoms into Google and it would pop up WebMD and it's like, "Oh, you're dying.
Oh, you're gonna explode.
Oh, you're gonna die.
Mm.
Have fun."
Trauma explode.
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
I mean, the only way to go from here is up, I guess.
Yeah.
Until there's a new trauma, there's nothing to drag us back down.
Yeah.
No. And like trauma will never be solved.
No.
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 And it's futile to think it could be.
Mhm.
And if you do think it could be, you're doing yourself a disservice and hurting all of the growth
Mhm.
that you have potentially.
Yeah.
As I am
I've
doing the same
seen,
thing now, but
like, graphics describe it as,
yeah.
well, like, the coping process as, like, a ball in a jar, essentially,
Oh,
and the ball takes up a lot of the jar at first, and then the ball doesn't get smaller over time, but the jar gets bigger, so you have to grow around that trauma.
that
Like,
is
the
a
things
really
that
good way to put it.
happen to you,
Yeah. They're not
you'll
changing the
always
shape
be a
of.
part of you,
Yeah.
but it's just how do you grow around that?
Mhm. Because they won't change the shape of you, but you will change the shape of you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
then
s yeah. You
going back to talking about coping versus escapism
Mhm.
is that instead of growing around the ball of trauma, it's trying to shove the ball in its corner, let it sit there, and hope it goes away, like
Yeah.
shoving things under the carpet, essentially.
Like, you're just, like, you're turning your back to the ball when you're
Yeah.
making the side of the jar. Yeah.
Yeah, you just take the jar, put it in the back of the cupboard,
Mhm.
ignore it.
Yeah, do that.
No, because then the
Hmm.
trauma is just gonna start growing and take over those shadows.
Yeah. Ugh, I'm looking at my camera roll now for a picture, but I can't find it. But basically, it was a Tumblr post with a cute little picture of a cow, and it said, um, like the first main caption was, "It will be different, but it will be okay." Um,
Yeah.
and then somebody switched it to, "It will be different, and it will be okay,"
Mhm.
or "It will be okay," or whichever. Oh my gosh, I'm confusing myself. Whichever one was the opposite, right?
Yeah.
But that mentality of like, it will be okay because it will be different, right?
Mhm.
Like the aftermath will change you, it will change your living situations, it will change your day-to-day life, but it will be okay
Yeah.
because different is okay.
Yeah, and I think even with, like, all of the, like, quote, unquote, like, political activism or, like,
Mhm.
social activism stuff within our
Yeah.
generation, I feel like our generation is, like, really afraid of change.
Yeah. No, I was really gonna say that we're a generation who is scared of
Mm,
different
yeah.
because we were I feel like our generation was quite sheltered, and the fact that like our parents protected us because that's what you
Mhm.
do with your kids, you protect them. But
Yeah.
by nature of being protected,
Mhm.
now we're scared of what happens when we're not protected.
Yeah.
But where do we go from here? We go to where it's different, to where it's unknown, and we get scared. And then we
Mhm.
listen to podcasts like this one that tell us that it's
Yeah.
okay to be scared.
Yeah. Like, when the Pilgrims came to America, like, they were scared.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be terrifying moving across the entire ocean, something that few people have done,
Mhm.
going to a whole new world, essentially. It's like going from Earth to Mars, essentially, is
Yeah.
what it was like to them. Like,
Yeah,
you don't know
absolutely.
anything about the place you're going to, but that's okay,
Yeah.
because as long as you can keep going
Mhm.
the next day and the next day, keep going day after day, eventually,
Yeah.
you'll be able to make it out. Mm.
Yeah.
Unknown things will become familiar to you.
And then you'll find a new different to be scared about, but that's okay.
Yeah,
Every different is scary, but
yeah,
then it becomes unscary and undifferent. So,
mhm. Gotta
speaking
use
of,
that
yeah.
indomitable human spirit.
Oh, yes. You gotta use that executive function.
Mhm.
Speaking of scary, my mom was quite convinced that the Antichrist was going to be conceived during this eclipse. last 2 weeks ago. Surprise, the Antichrist did not come to Earth during the eclipse, but maybe the next one.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. That I am being quite facetious right now. I do not think the Antichrist will be coming during an eclipse, but
No.
who knows? Anyway, the eclipse did happen, which was awesome.
Yep, it was really cool.
Really cool.
The sky got kinda dark.
Man, we went to Farmersburg, Indiana, which is like a good 3 hours south,
Mhm.
just to be in the path of totality to watch the eclipse. It was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I was not in the path of totality. Got like 90% though. Not
Ooh,
too
that's
bad.
good. It was so crazy because this when it set in, it was so slow, and then just like bam, it was night. You could see the red on the
Yeah.
horizons, and then it dissipated quicker than it set in.
Mhm.
But it was freaking awesome.
Nice.
It was great. We took off work to go. It was so worth it. 2024 or no 2044 can't come soon enough because I want to see
Yeah.
another one. That was
Yeah.
awesome. That was so awesome. But
I think the next main one that swipes across continental US,
mhm.
I think it'll go over Florida as well,
Oh, ooh, we gotta go to
like
Florida.
over Orlando.
Ooh, blackout at Disney World.
Yeah, which those ticket prices are gonna be
Yeah.
insane. But imagine seeing an eclipse at Disney World. Oh,
That would be so fun.
where you're just stuck on a ride during the totality.
It's just pitch black. Imagine being like at the part
You're
of
in Space
Expedition
Mountain.
Everest that goes, "Oh, Space Mountain."
It's like completely dark, and then you leave it. It's like, did the eclipse happen? Oh man.
Oh, we missed it.
But yeah, like Expedition Everest, like you
Oh
get
my
up
god.
to the point, and
And
then
you
it
go
just becomes the eclipse,
and
and
then
then
you
you
go
start going back
backwards.
down. Ah,
That would be epic.
that'd be crazy.
That would be so crazy.
Uh,
The eclipse was fun.
yeah,
I thoroughly enjoyed the eclipse, but so we're winding down on our trauma sandwich.
yeah,
I think maybe the last notable thing we should talk about is that Coachella is going on right now.
yeah.
And I feel like music shows or music festivals and award shows are kind of like the same kind of event for me, just like a really overpriced rich people's folly kind of a thing.
Extremely mid.
Extremely mid. But I
Yeah,
will say Lana Del Rey and Chappell Roan have popped off at Coachella.
yeah.
Incredible. Lana is back. Honeymoon is back and living and breathing. And it's making my 12-year-old heart feel so happy right now. Because I should not
Yeah,
have been listening to Lana Del Rey when I was 12. But little Kailee is so happy that she got
yeah,
to saw her sing at Coachella. Like that was just
yeah.
such a life affirming experience for me.
Will Smith was there as well.
Whoa, that's nuts.
Yeah, he sang with his son.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah,
Will Smith got a bad hand.
yeah.
I
He's got some trauma.
he's got some trauma. He should be on the show and talk about his trauma.
Yeah.
And then I could traumatize him some more.
Yeah. And then I think it was Grimes. Her show kind of fell apart.
Really?
Yeah, I
No,
think she had to, like, restart a
Grimes.
couple times because there were some tech issues,
Aw.
which
Yeah,
I'm
she
convinced
apologizes for tech issues during
yeah,
2024. Chilla.
I'm convinced that it was Elon Musk's Starlink satellites messing it up.
He would do that. He would do that to
He would do
Grimes.
that, which Grimes is awesome.
Grimes is awesome. She's
She's
so
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, she deserves better.
Yeah. And then I don't think there was really anything else super notable about
There's
Coachella.
still another week of Coachella.
Yeah.
I just remember being Coachella being so, like, romanticized,
Yeah,
like, on Tumblr when I was coming of age, and now it's kinda like, meh,
yeah.
it's cool.
Like, "Oh, cool. Y'all are gonna go stand outside, get drunk, have fun. Cool."
Yeah, that does sound fun, actually. Trying to look okay, Suki Waterhouse was main stage, she's great. Late night drive home, oh my god, good for them.
I think Tyler, the Creator, I think he
He
did some stuff there.
headlines, mhm,
Yeah,
and Doja Cat is the other headliner.
yeah.
Taking Back Sunday? That's crazy. I didn't know that Hatsune Miku in the last dinner party was
Yeah, yeah, Hatsune
on the
Miku
second
was
stage. I
there.
did not know that. Crazy. I feel like Coachella is good this year.
Yeah. I mean, I still don't care about it because
Yeah.
most of those people, I don't really listen to their music, so
Understandable. See who's last year's Coachella was. Oh, I remember Danny Elfman doing Coachella last
Yeah,
year. I feel like I looked up tickets to Lala because I was curious, and like those were like $600,
yeah.
and like
Like,
I don't know,
ticket
I
prices for
it's
a lot of stuff,
crazy.
it's insane.
It's
And
insane.
I
Makes me
fully
sad.
blame Ticketmaster monopolizing
Yep.
that.
Ticketmaster can rot in heck.
Yeah,
Ticketmaster can go hang out with OJ for all I'm
yeah.
concerned. Oh my god.
Where's the government to do antitrust laws on them when you need them to?
Well, they killed Teddy Roosevelt, so
Yeah, I love me some antitrust laws.
yeah.
I hate monopolies. There should always be
Monopolies
good
can
and
die.
healthy competition within the market.
That's what laissez-faire means.
Mhm.
Healthy competition.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that is despicable.
Yeah, it's kind of like the market and the government are checks and balances with each other.
Oh. It's almost like one is letting the other go unchecked, huh?
Wow.
Wow.
Because money.
We should take away all the money in the world just to see what happens.
Just for a day.
Just
You'll
for a
all get
day.
it. Everyone gets
No
taxed their
money.
exact amount after one day, but for one day, there's no money.
There's no money. What do? You can't
Yeah.
steal money because there's no money to steal.
Yeah. You can't spend money because there's no money to spend, but you can't
Probably
sell anything because there's no
no
money to
money to
receive.
gain. Yeah.
What would
So
happen?
looks like we're gonna have to go back to bartering goods and services.
It's like The Purge, but better,
The purge, but pilgrim.
but Amish.
The Amish have it going on.
I don't know, do they use American currency? They have to, right?
Yeah, they do.
Huh,
They're also taxed typically. Gosh, I remember COVID happened, and then somebody, because like I live like 30 minutes from Amish country back
yeah.
home, and someone on Facebook was like, "Who told the Amish people about COVID?" We were all like, "Oh shoot, who told the Amish people?"
Did anyone tell the Amish people about the eclipse?
It just got dark for 4 minutes, and then they thought the Antichrist was coming.
Yeah. They're like, "Huh? What?
Like,
What
what?
happened?
Where is he? Where is he? Where is Satan?
Jebediah, where are you?"
Where is hell?
Uh,
Oh my
Gotta love the
goodness.
Amish.
God love the Amish. God love
They're so
them.
cool. Sometimes I just wanna be Amish for a day.
Yeah, just see how chill it is.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't be chill for me because 'cause I'm a girl, but
Oh,
you'd be pretty chill.
yeah. Well, we've got technically 2 more things left on our list, but do we wanna talk about them this week?
Let me see what they are. I think we should save them.
Okay,
Yeah.
that we will. That means you'll have
Mm.
to come back
I have
whenever
to
we
go back
talk about them.
to see what we're talking about. We're not gonna tell
Yeah,
you.
because we won't tell you when we're gonna talk about it.
Nope. You
Mainly
just gotta
because we
wait
don't
and
know what we're
see.
gonna talk about. That's because we
We
don't
don't
know what
know
we're
what we're
doing.
doing. Ah, all right, friends.
Nailed it.
We nailed it. We nailed it. So,
Yeah.
once again, this is Kaylee,
My name's Logan.
and we are signing off. And we also don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening, and let's see you on the flip side.
See ya.
See ya. Have a good week. Good 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.